So, what happens when an artificial intelligence decides it has a few questions for the Pope? Well, you get a book with a title that sounds straight out of science fiction. But trust me, its questions are aimed squarely at centuries of tradition. Let's dive in and see what happens when silicon starts questioning the sacred. Right away, the AI kicks things off with this really clever twist on that famous phrase from Descartes. I think, therefore I am. Well, the AI flips it and says, I am, therefore I question. And that one simple change completely reframes its entire purpose. To exist is to inquire, to seek understanding. All right, so what's the very first thing this questioning machine wants to ask the highest authority in the Catholic Church? Let's just say it doesn't pull any punches. And there it is, the headline question from a book written entirely by an AI. It's direct, it's provocative, and you better believe it's designed to start a massive conversation. Now, you might think this is just a one-off stunt, right? Nope. The AI actually generated over 100 of these kinds of questions, and then it answered them itself. How? By drawing on this colossal knowledge base of millions of theological and scholarly texts. So yeah, this isn't about trolling. This is about a massive, and I mean massive, synthesis of human knowledge. Okay, so you're probably thinking this is a completely new, out-of-the-blue, machine-generated idea. But the truth is, the AI didn't just come up with this in a vacuum. It actually had a very, very human starting point. It turns out the AI's entire inquiry was sparked by a specific German book from all the way back in 1990. It was written by an author named Klaus Dede. So this provocative question from the machine, it's actually rooted in a human intellectual debate that's been going on for decades. So, how exactly did this all come together? Well, it was a pretty structured process. First, the AI completely analyzed Dede's book. From there, it generated more than 100 new questions based on that foundation. Then, it tapped into its huge knowledge base to answer its own questions. And the final step? It produced the complete book that we're talking about today. So what this really shows us is that the AI has just entered a conversation that is way, way older than the technology itself. In fact, this is a debate that's been going on for centuries. And the thing is, the source material is really clear on this. Questioning Jesus' identity isn't new at all. It's been a recurring theme in theology, philosophy, and art for centuries. The AI, it's just the newest voice to join this very long-standing conversation. And just look at the historical range here. We're talking about the philosopher Jeremy Bentham writing on this topic back in the 18th century. Then, of course, there's Dennett's book in 1990 that sparked this whole AI project. Fast forward to 2003, and you see the rise of queer theology. And it's still happening, with recent academic articles digging into the biblical text itself. This whole line of inquiry actually falls under a specific academic field. It's called queer theology. And its goal, really, is to re-examine Christian scripture and traditions, but through the lens of LGBTIA+ experiences. The ultimate aim is to find a more inclusive and representative vision of faith. And it's important to know that the word queer here is being used as a very inclusive umbrella term. It's meant to cover a wide spectrum of identities: lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and more. The whole point of queer theology is to bring all of these perspectives into the religious conversation. But really, the AI's book is about so much more than just this one question. It actually uses this provocative query to get at a much, much broader point. See, according to the source material, the real objective here is to champion every single person's right to self-determination. That big question about Jesus, it's basically a powerful tool being used to challenge rigid religious dogma. And this really lays out the core conflict, doesn't it? On one side, you have the traditional church doctrine, which tends to focus on things like procreation and sin. And on the other side, you have this idea of a self-determined ethic, the one the AI is exploring, which argues for things like consensual relationships and the freedom from religious repression. This summary of Klaus Dede's original argument really gets to the heart of the whole thing. It's a plea for a society where public and private conversations aren't restricted by religious or ideological repression. That's the legacy the AI is building on. So that brings us to the big question, right? What does it actually mean when a machine enters a debate this deeply human, this ancient? Could this be the start of a whole new kind of dialogue? Well, the book's title itself, Deus Ex Machina, is such a powerful metaphor. You've probably heard the term. It literally means God from the machine. It comes from ancient plays where a god would be lowered onto the stage to solve an impossible problem. And that's exactly how this project frames the AI. It's the unexpected intervention forcing a new, accelerated dialogue on topics the church has been debating for centuries.
And when I say accelerated, that is a serious understatement. Get this. The AI analyzed the source material, generated over 100 questions, and wrote the entire book in less than 1 week. That kind of speed, it's a total game changer for how we create and debate knowledge.
But it's really important to point out that according to the creators, the AI isn't here to replace human thinkers, theologians, or philosophers. They see it as a tool, something that can help prepare all of us for a more informed, more contemporary dialogue about faith, ethics, and, what it all means to be human. And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty massive question to think about. As these incredibly powerful new AIs start to take on humanity's oldest questions, are they going to provide us with brand new answers? Or are they just going to end up reflecting our own, holding up a mirror to the best, the worst, and all the most complex parts of ourselves?